So still a lot of questions this morning about the potential impacts of any tariffs.
Well, joining us now to talk about it all is Bill Hawk, an associate professor of economics at the University of South Carolina. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's first just sort of break this down in layman's terms. How do these tariffs work, and why does the president believe they could be a strategy to actually help Americans?
Sure. Well, a tariff is a tax on imports coming into the country, whether they're from Canada, Mexico, China, or any other of our trading partners. And, the important thing to note about tariffs is that they don't apply to domestically produced goods. So frequently, policymakers like to try to use tariffs in order to give domestic producers an advantage against foreign imported goods.
And Professor, well, we know the tariffs on Mexico and Canada, those are on hold at least for a month. Who knows, maybe more. Those tariffs on China did go into effect overnight. Talk about what that means on the individual level, these Chinese tariffs. How is it going to affect folks' bottom line at home?
Yeah, so I think the United States imports a lot of manufactured goods and electronic goods from China, and a 10% tariff, most of that is probably going to be passed along to consumers. So, any electronic goods that you get from overseas, say, they're probably going to be a little bit more expensive maybe the next time you go to the store. So that's the type of thing that tends to affect the bottom line for consumers. It's maybe not quite as severe as maybe we were expecting yesterday when we were thinking 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico, but it's still something that, we'll probably notice a little bit in our pocketbooks.
Now, how could these tariffs with China and the proposed tariffs with Mexico and Canada impact our trade relationships here?
Yeah, so I think, that's really a big question. And as we heard, late yesterday, it looks like the tariffs with Canada and Mexico are going to be on hold for at least a month. But I really think this did a lot of damage to our trading relationships. The first Trump administration negotiated the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement to kind of update and replace NAFTA. But now we're kind of going back a few years later and saying, well, we're kind of, scrapping that agreement. It's something that's going to make it really difficult for them to trust us in future negotiations. China, the relationship's always been a little bit fraught, but, this is the type of thing that's probably going to make cooperation in a lot of areas more difficult going forward.
Professor, let me put you on the spot. Directly here, do tariffs have the intended effect President Trump is looking for?
Well, I think, in terms of a, say, negotiating tool, they may at least, seem to have worked this time, at least with Canada and Mexico. Now, are they going to boost domestic production? That's a more difficult question. I mean, a lot of the things that we import nowadays, instead of just being, finished consumer goods, are also intermediate goods and raw materials that are used in manufacturing processes here in North Carolina, South Carolina. And, having tariffs on a lot of those intermediate goods actually can hurt domestic manufacturing. So I don't think the effect is going to be, frankly, all that great in terms of stimulating domestic production.
Professor Bill Hawk, we certainly appreciate your insight on this. I'm sure it'll be a continuing conversation. We'll have to have you back on.
Definitely. Thank you very much.